Welcome back to Sailing Northern Breeze, our 16th episode. We're changing the discussion today to decision making. We'll talk about our plans for the rest of the season and how we'll make them happen. So, our destination is Europe. From the northern UK, the shortest passage is from the Shetland Islands to Norway, approximately 200 miles. If we average 6 knots, that'll take us about 33 hours, so it'll be an overnight passage. Since we're now into September, we need to expect short weather windows between storms on the North Sea. So that 33-hour weather window that we need should be available. We'll likely need to spend several days in ports waiting for it, but we should find it. We'll talk about our weather decision criteria in the next episode. Today we'll focus on the routing. So, our route. We'll leave Mallaig for a short 10-mile hop to the Isle of Skye, and then the next day a 34-mile sail to a nice anchorage at Rona, before the 41-mile leg up to Stornoway on the Isle of Lewis. From there, we'll really need to start watching the weather, as we'll stage on the mainland at Kinlochbervie. The challenge of the Cape of Wrath and our passage to the first of the Isles of Orkney will require some planning. Cape Wrath is the northwest tip of Scotland, and it is correctly named for its wrath. Its strong currents and winds demand our respect. Its desolate beauty hides its potential rage. This shot shows the many currents around northern Scotland, with our cape near the center of the screen, just below the text calling out the UK continental shelf. The text here talks about currents and rocks in a long exposed passage between our staging point in Loch Inchard and then until we're well offshore north of the mainland. If we have wind against tide, we need to be especially careful and give a wide berth, as we'll have severe seas. Our next destination after Cape of Wrath will be the Isles of Orkney, where again we'll need to manage the time of day that we arrive to avoid tidal races between the islands. So we've got 3 independent variables to manage for that trip. The trip from Kinlochbervie around the Cape into Stromness. We need good weather, we need to be aligned with tides in our favor, and that has to happen during daylight hours. We start off the last day of August for Mallaig and have a very pleasant 9.5 mile trip to a very beautiful mooring with a couple of more dolphins.
Going into our mooring ball for tonight, it is August 31st, and we're going to moor on a friend of ours named John Moss's mooring ball back in this little alcove. The sun is not great. I'm not sure that you can see a few houses. It's a beautiful spot. There's no wind.
This was certainly one of the prettiest evenings of the season. These magnificent photos were taken by Marie as we rested on a mooring ball. John Moss, thank you for sharing this location and your mooring. We're very grateful. As this is a shallow bay, we are thankful also to the directions provided by the gentlemen on this vessel as they steered us to a safe mooring. September 1st, the next morning broke beautifully, and we were up and moving by 6:10 a.m., as we'll have to manage tides and currents to be in our favor on some narrow sections today. We're off to Rona, a 33-mile leg. These narrow passages, marked by the green arrows, can have currents against us at the wrong time of day, which can bring us really to a standstill. The early start will hopefully get us through here before the tide turns. Slack tide today is at 8:30 a.m., hence the reason we got off our mooring ball at 6:10. We have some wind today, so we're making some good time this morning. We need to get through that second section before 9 a.m., and we should make it.
Well, today is a beautiful day, September 1st, 2023. We've left our beautiful Anchorage that was not Anchorage mooring, that was so generously given to us by John Moss, and they are passing under the Skye Bridge. Skye is to our left, mainland is to our right. Beautiful day. Hit some really significant currents in this narrow stretch. We were going about 1.8 at one point, 1.8 knots. Barely crawling. I get discouraged when I can walk faster than the boats.
And we've made it under the Skye Bridge. and we're on our way to Rona. We'll arrive at Rona around 2:30 p.m. A short day, but it's a beautiful day. And we check the weather again. It's a habit as we travel. A storm will arrive early tomorrow morning. As we'll be at anchor, no doubt that storm will wake us. We'll really need to be confirmed that we have a good hold. And then we'll have a rough day sailing the 41 miles to Tobermory, or we'll have to wait it out on the anchor at Rona. However, there's an alternate possibility. What if we don't stop at Rona? What if we go straight through to Tobermory today and be safely on their dock in a protected harbor when that storm does arrive? We've learned to plan the sail and sail to that plan, and not to make changes as it introduces risk. But today we've got a couple of hours to decide before we need to change our course. So we maintain our course to Rona while we talk about the options. We would add about 8 hours to our sail, tentatively arriving in Tobermory at 10:30 p.m., which is after dark, of course. We never like doing this, but we have been here before to Tobermory. In fact, we have our exact route into the harbor already saved on our chart plotter from August of last year. And the weather is the other big factor. It will be a beautiful sail today and into the evening. It'll be a crap sail tomorrow. And then finally, fatigue. It can cause mistakes. But today we are good. We had an excellent night's sleep last night, and 10:30 p.m. arrival tonight isn't too late. We've decided. It's on to Tobermory.
So that's Rona. That's Sky. And that's the Isle of Lewis, where we're going, Stornoway. Isle of Lewis, Sky. Rona.
And the dolphins agree. You've heard the expression, saw a squirrel and got distracted? Now here I go again. And then an amazing sight. Watch for it. All of these birds, mostly northern gannets dive bombing, are feeding on a school of fish. Why are these fish exposing themselves to the birds up at the surface? Here they come, the dolphins. They're rounding up the fish, and the birds are gorging themselves. It's amazing to watch nature on its own without our interference. What a show. I'm really grateful that we didn't stop at Rona. We would have missed this. Squirrels. More squirrels. Squirrels.
You see them looking at you?
What?
You see them looking at you? They kind of roll on their side and they look at you. Yeah. They're calling their buddies.
Big old red man or whatever they're called.
Maybe it's young. Are they? Yeah.
As the afternoon turned to evening, the weather held, the sun slowly set a little after 7 p.m. We had moonlight to guide us the last few hours into the safe harbor.
Good morning.
We landed on the dock around 11 p.m. and easily tied off ahead of the oncoming weather that is due in the morning.
Coast Guard, many thanks for the opportunity to give the call on the arrival at Malik. Have a good watch.
Here we are in the center of the screen with our black mast, safely tucked in for a couple of days, waiting for the storm to pass. To pass the time, we rented a car and did some touring. We visited the Harris Tweed store on the Isle of Harris, a Croft, and a Neolithic henge. I'm still not entirely comfortable driving on the left side of the road, but I'm getting a little used to it, even the left-handed gear shifter.
Just out that little, is the Atlantic Ocean right there?
Avoiding the free-range sheep required a slow pace. A Croft is a historic small farm community similar to sharecropping in the USA. Several families lived in this community, with the last inhabitants moving to retirement facilities just in the last couple of decades. These last few ladies loved their farms, but finally moved along, and the area has been preserved. The small two-room buildings were heated with locally cut peat. The residents farmed a little grain, a few cattle and sheep, did a little fishing from this protected bay. There are many Neolithic henges across the UK, including here in the Hebrides. They are a little eerie, as we can only speculate as to their usage. Certainly ceremonial, and they are related to the seasons, and perhaps religious. Much of this has been lost to history. We'll see some more of these, with more details, in upcoming episodes. We returned to Stornoway and did a little hiking around town, back up to the castle grounds, through the park-like gardens and around town. After 4 days here, we're ready to move on to Kinlochbernie in Loch Inchard to stage for that Cape Wrath to Orkney passage. We'll see you on our next video. Thanks to all of you for watching and subscribing. Please feel free to leave comments, as we love to hear your thoughts. Bye for now from Aaron and Marie.